everybody. I want to welcome you all to Discovering Your Destiny. I'm your host, Athena Renee, and I am thrilled to embark on this incredible journey with all of you. In each episode, we're going to be exploring secrets to discovering your true destiny and how all of your life experiences and everything that you've been through, your incredible journey, we're going to be talking about how it can lead to profits, peace, and fulfillment in your life. So let's dive right in. Listen, today we're going to be talking about mindset magic. We're going to be discussing on mindset makeovers, okay? Say goodbye to poverty and welcome wealth with open arms. And I'm going to give you three main keys to this topic that we're going to be discussing. But before we jump right in, I want to say, send a warm welcome out to the first time listeners. Hey, what's up, y'all? And I want to send a warm welcome and a special welcome to my OG subbies that has been with me from day one through different seminars, events, and all of my other content channels. All right. What's up, gang? Now, for my newbies, just in case, again, since you are new here, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and why you are in the right place at the right time. I have been a life master coach for over 20 years. I've helped countless individuals on career levels upgrade their career through resume services as well as mock interviewing. But I've also helped countless small business owners bring structure to their business, but also make that expansion go from dream world, go from idea and concept to physical manifestation. I've had multiple celebrity clients, which I'm very proud to say, but some of my most proudest moments are working with middle class people, everyday people such as myself, misfits and underdogs that had a vision and they braced the change that they see in life and they took it to the next level. All right. So like I said, if you are here, I always believe that if you land on my channel, land on my shows, it's not a coincidence. You are destined to come here because I can honestly tell you, I have not had any bootstrapping finances or loans. I have not had some huge influential name or backing or any shout outs or anything like that. And I was able to scale my business to 6 figures. And guess what? It went to 6 figures at the height of COVID-19. And I say that to say it doesn't matter what is going on the outside. When you're doing the inner work, when it's your time to shine, nothing can stop it. Not even a global pandemic. All right. So with that being said, let's get into this episode. Okay. Now, I was thinking over the weekend, I already have some of the things that we're going to be discussing on this channel. I have so much content for you guys, okay? Not only in just coming on with podcast episodes, but I got a book that's coming out. You guys definitely want to check that out. We're going to be getting more into the book. It's called The 28 Laws of the Underdog: How to Lead from Any Seat, okay? It's really good. But not only that, we have a lot of different downloads and free actionable things that you can do to hold yourself accountable, right? Because this channel is really dedicated to the well-being of the leader, the well-being of the person that says, if I don't have anybody else behind me, I'm going to lead myself to the next level. Right? Because some people think that being a leader requires that you have a lot of people following you or even like a social media influence. And here's the deal. At the end of the day, it all begins with you. And see, when you are a heart-driven individual, what do I mean by that? You are more so to wanting to connect to things through your heart. Obviously, logic is going to play a connection to it, but sometimes you can have opportunities where the money is there, which would be logically a good idea, but it's not right. It doesn't sit right with your heart posture, right? And I'm talking about that piece of it because a lot of times when you truly love to help people It don't matter what you're doing. You just love helping people and seeing people happy and things like that. We forget to nourish ourselves. And guess what? We're so good at what we do, people forget that we're human. It's almost like we're superheroes to people. And it could be in a small way or a large way. It doesn't even matter. When you are impacting someone else in a positive manner, you are definitely something special. You're definitely a chosen one. You're called to a higher power and a higher light. And you're awesome, right? But here's the thing. A lot of people are drawn to our light, and it takes a lot from us. So you must remember that even though you have a lot to give, because some of you might have a local thing that you want to do, or you want to help your community, which is very important. But some of you have a global vision where you want to help touch masses all over the world, right? Either way, it's great. But what you must understand is, if you had that dream, that's proof that you have capacity to make it a reality. That's number one. But number two, you must always remember that every time you give out something, something is being subtracted from you. Okay. And here's the deal. Just like a bank, you cannot continue to make withdrawals and not add deposits, right? And expect to have a financial balance, right? Or to have something to give. So I'm saying all that to say, a lot of you are so good at what you do. People make withdrawals all day long. Even you make withdrawals for other people. But who's filling you up? Right? And that's what this channel is all about. It's about supporting you, not just with business strategies, because we're going to talk a lot about that. I love it. We're going to talk about email marketing and all of those things, right? Chat GPT. We stand on top of technology, right? So we're going to be discussing all of those things. But the first thing, it starts with you having mental health, well-being on a holistic level, right? Why? Because health is wealth. So you'll hear me talk a lot about money, because money is a resource and a tool. You know, it can get you some lavishly, lovely, nice luxury things, because I love it all, right? I grew up very poor, but I've always had a dream of, living a nice luxury filled life. And don't get me wrong, guys, I really have gotten to this point where I think I'm partially a minimalist, but I love beautiful things. Why? Because this is somebody's talent and their work in action. So I'll always love beautiful things. That's just who my personality is. But at the same time, I can go outside to a park and love those things. But to reel it back in, I'm saying this to say I'm here to make sure you're okay. Why? Because I love you. I love you for having enough guts to say, I'm going to take what I got in my heart. I'm going to take my life experiences and I'm going to help somebody else. Right? So that's why I'm here. Now, today, so like I was saying, I was thinking all weekend, like, what am I going to discuss? I got a list of things, but I said, you know what? Before I hop into talking about the underdog and the misfit ways that you can expand your brand or your nonprofit, or you can take your job or career to the next level, I wanted to back and talk about mindset makeover, right? And the reason why is because the mindset is so important. First of all, it's the first piece that you must master to live the life of your dreams, to live the life that you want. But let me tell you how powerful mindset is. Let's just talk about wealth for a second. Whatever wealth is to you, and this is another reason why I love talking about success and wealth, because it's relative to you. What does that mean? It depends on who you're talking to, right? Everybody doesn't need 7 figures to feel rich and wealthy. Some people want freedom. Right? They just want to be able to travel the world as they please and work from wherever there's an internet connection. Guess what? They're wealthy. They might make $50,000 a year, but in their mindset, they're wealthy. Okay. So this is about you personally, right? But this is what I discovered working with 7 and 8 figure clients. It's so amazing because You can have the mindset to be able to manage millions of dollars, but you don't have the mindset to manage your family, your attitude, and or just your personal happiness in general. Right? And that's why I said, whoa, when I thought about it, because listen, I have done work for people that buy $1 million homes in cash. There's no payments. They design them and everything, come with furniture, everything. But guess what? They will get the crummiest attitude over the simplest things, right? Family full of dysfunction, right? And here's the deal, guys. It's not because of money. It's because a lot of people have not taken the time out to manage those pieces of their life. Why? Because a lot of times people make money the number one thing in their life. They make that the main priority. Okay. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just telling you these things from different perspectives so you can use it in your advantage. Right. And also have a broad perspective on things. Because a lot of times people, I'm going to give you an example. If you want a big dream, if you have a large vision, a lot of times the sacrifice is your time. And maybe you won't be able to make it to all the games, right? In the beginning, though, here's the other thing. When you look at it from a mission standpoint, you'll say, okay, let's say, for instance, if you had a family of 7. When you know you're about to go on this mission, even if you said, I'm just going to take night classes, guys, it doesn't have to be millions. It could be, family, I'm going back to college. And yes, I'm 55. Yes, I'm 45, but I'm going back to college and I'm going to finish this degree. But I want you guys to understand, I'm going to night school, right? So even though I have the job in the daytime, when I get off work, I'm going straight to the university, straight to the college, wherever the classes are being held. It could be at home, right? But you're telling them I'm going to be focused in it. So if I'm working 9 to 5, I have to be at my classes at 6:30. They're 2 hours for 4 times a week. So that means from 6:30 to 8:30, listen, I will not be available. Okay. So even though that sounds like 2 hours, please understand that is still going to cost you. Okay. And a lot of people, they do not calculate that cost up to their vision. Okay. Or whatever it is that they're doing. It may not even be a vision. But here's the first step into saying goodbye to a poverty mindset. And poverty, I mean, it could be poverty towards, first of all, money. Right? Poverty towards your actual full potential. Poverty pretty much means you have a low standard, a low view of certain topics, because poverty does not necessarily mean it's in money, as you'll see. And as I've already told you, right? You may have poverty in relationships. Okay. So because you've been burned so many times, you approach every situation like, what are they trying to get out of me? Right? You kind of negative. You a pessimist about everything. That's a poverty mindset. Right? Here's another one that's really major. I've noticed there's a lot of successful people that are poverty in health. Right? They're poor in health. I mean, you see, I'm going to give you an example. There was at a time, so let me back up. One of my businesses that I have had and has been very successful over the past 7 years was catering, meal prep and catering. It was, my niche market has always been low carb or corporate catering or just small events, no more than 100 people. Okay. But I always really had a fun of meal prepping. I was able to transform my life and my body with low carb before keto was a major thing, but low carb and keto are very interchangeable. Okay. But so I started a meal prep service. And we'll talk about that in other videos. But I wanted to say this. I have met, one thing that I learned or I observed was that a lot of chefs were heavyweight. They were overweight. right? And then I started noticing a lot of people, once they get successful, they start gaining weight. And I'm going to say this, especially because the area that I'm in the South, especially in the South a lot of times, right? And so I started to notice that food is really the basis around a lot of celebrations. And hey, I'm all down for it, right? Because I love baked goods. If you don't know, that's one of my weaknesses is baked goods. And I'm talking about homemade baked goods, okay? But I noticed that they were poor in their health. And what is the use of having all of this money and access and influence and impact, and you can't even move around, and you're breathing hard just because you got to walk a little bit, right? So that's another area where people are poor at. Okay. So the first step to really starting to get some type of direction on your mindset as far as with this makeover that you need to get rid of poverty, number one is to start thinking about things in accordance and in alignment to your life purpose. Okay, you guys gonna hear me talk about it a lot because it's the answer to everything. It is the answer to everything. I truly believe that. Why do I say that? Well, purpose, if you think about the word purpose, purpose means the point, right? So the point means, what is the point of me being here? What is the point of us talking? What is the purpose of these things that we're doing? And the reason why we need to start looking at things as a purpose is because we know we only have so much time here. Right? Even if it's not just talking about so much time on earth, this is how you know you have a life purpose. But even if you was having a conversation, you only have so much time in the conversation. So guess what? What's the point of this conversation? Okay. And it's not about being rude like that, but I'm just telling you that is the mindset that you should have in the back of your mind, right? Not just being rude and cutting people off, but you got to think about that when you're spending your time in conversations and in people. Even think about when you get on YouTube sometimes. How many of you have just got on YouTube for something really productive, and before you know it, 2 hours went by because of shorts? Right? So you have to continue to put in your mind, okay, wait a minute, what is the point of me being here? So to go back to number one, with that being about your life, start to think about, what is my purpose here? If you have not discovered it already, right? And I'm going to help you if you have not. But today it's all about you thinking in that manner. So the first things about purpose is you start to think that, well, if I was born, I had to be born for a reason, right? Away with this thing about, oh, we just arrived and we evolved and all of this. If you were born for a reason. How do I know that? If you look at the birth process alone, you can be an atheist. You don't even have to be a believer. I'm a believer in Christ. You don't have to believe in nothing. But if you was to look at the birth process on a scientific level, even a logical level, it's a miracle in itself. Over 1 million sperms are swimming against each other to fulfill the destiny of getting to that uterus. Right? So I'm not going to even get deep into it, but I'm just letting you know you were born for a reason. So when you start to understand that, you start to say, okay, what are those reasons that I was born? And a lot of times it's going to be, the answer of that is going to be wrapped up in multiple things. Okay. And we'll get into it later on, because I don't want this video to be super long, but I want to give you something to bite on so you can start thinking about it and making those shifts and transformations. Right. But the first part is, when you know you're born for a reason, it's going to be wrapped up in your gifts, right? What are your gifts? What are your talents? Things that you love to do. Okay? It's going to be, a lot of times it's wrapped up in those things that you are just naturally inclined to do, right? There are certain things about your personality that you're naturally inclined to do. Right? The other side to that is your life purpose is also, I believe, more so. The indicator comes from your life pain. Okay, a lot of times discovering your life purpose and destiny, it comes from understanding your life pain and your journey and knowing that it was not just because you were picked out of a atom or whatever, right? It was for a particular reason. And I truly believe that life pain, especially when you've been through a lot, it is an indicator, number one, that you're really made for greatness. You're really here to do great things. But number two, that story that you got, sometimes the worse it is, the more you can tell, the more it pierces your heart, the more you're going to be able to impact people. This is why it's important for you to get your message out there, regardless of how you do it. That's what we're here about, right? So again, your purpose is sometimes in that balance of your passions, your talents, your gifts, but also your pain. Okay, so for an example, for me, I've always been a misfit, darn it. Right? I've always been a misfit, always been the underdog. And God showed me where even when I had access to money, still was the underdog. Right? Even when I had access to influential friends, still was the underdog. I looked the part. But guys, it will be people that even play the part, that even look the part. They were still able to flourish in those things, in those places, and I was not. And so when I say, man, I just, I kind of seen it a long time, even with my family and things like that. Like I said, I was born between 3 sets of projects. So it doesn't get any lower than that, any hoodier, any less ratcheter than that. Is ratcheter, is that even a word? But anyways, you understand what I'm saying. But I did not fit in there. I didn't fit in there. I just knew it was more to life. In that type of environment, don't get me wrong, you'll get people that want more out of life, right? But they were in an incubator that taught them that. I was in the streets. Okay, I was in the streets. Don't get me wrong, I was brought up in a church, so I wasn't able to be out all the time. But when I learned how to navigate and be under the radar, trust me, I have knocked on the devil's door many times, and God has told me that is not my place. Okay, so I'm saying that to say I discovered that I was a misfit. But guess what? The things that I love to do, I loved helping people. I loved teaching people. I loved empowering people. I loved being creative. And so as I went throughout life and in my journey and things that I continue to go through personally, like when I was talking about meal prepping, right? I love helping people. I love cooking. I love health, right? So I would eventually turn that into a service. But check this out, y'all. Not just in cooking for people, but providing meal plans, right? So that's how I discovered what I'm here for, to help people along their journey and help them discover their destiny and empower them, right? To be able to do the same things that I'm doing, but in their authentic right. Okay. Number 2. So after you discover your purpose, check this out. There's all types of talent assessments. If you're completely lost about discovering your destiny and what you love to do, I like to say make a list, 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. 1, things that you love to do. The other side, your top pains. Top 10, top 5 things you went through that impacted your life and changed you forever, that you would love to protect someone else from if you didn't have to go through it. When you write those things down, a lot of times your purpose is right there in that middle point. Okay. But again, you can just Google talent assessments, attitude assessments, personality, all of those different types of things. Those will help draw you closer to that as well. Okay. Number two, to being able to say goodbye to poverty, right? Number 1, you discover your purpose. You know you're born for a reason, right? You start to figure those things out. But here's the other thing, guys. When you know you're born for a reason, you won't be hanging around any and everybody. You know you was born for a reason. I can't be hanging out with y'all. I got something special. I know there's a reason I'm here. It don't matter where I'm at. It don't matter where I'm from. I was born for a reason, and now I need to discover those things and discover that reason and start to putting in line so that I can make an impact and an income, right? Now, number 2 is, once you know you're born for a reason, Here's the second piece to it: discovering and changing your mindset to say goodbye to poverty. You must understand that people are here to help other people. We are here to network and help other people. So I always like to say, a business or a nonprofit, or if you have a career, you know what it's about? It's about people helping people. I say it every time. People helping people. Okay, so why is that important to say goodbye to the poverty mindset and welcome wealth with open arms? Well, when you understand that it's about people helping people, you will start to want to identify and know, well, who are my people then? Who's my tribe? You know why? Because when you discover your people, when you discover your tribe, those are going to be the people that fill you back up. They going to take from you, but you're going to help them so much. Those are going to be the people that's going to give you the encouragement that you need. You may have some other people that you have been with for a while. In my book, I talk about the 3 types of friends that you will encounter in life. You definitely want to know about those. But you will have different people that you pick up along the way, or that you link up with along the way. And some of those will be meant to be with you, and they'll encourage you, and you can do brainstorming and things like that. But for the most part, your tribe is going to be the people that continue to fill you back up. Don't get me wrong. You're going to outpour to them, right? You're going to outpour to them. And it's a way that you can outpour to people without draining yourself. But when you love what you do, it's going to be tiring. Why? Because we're human, but at the same time, you're going to be filled right back up. That's one of the main keys as far as tapping into your purpose, because it is like a power pellet. I'm talking about, man, you a human. So human, we have to rest, right? We have to rest. That is the thing with the human experience, but you're going to have way more energy than average people. Okay. But listen, it's about people helping people. So here's the deal. Do away with all of this. I gotta be, I'm low key, or I'm not talking to anybody, or I'm not a people person, or I'm not a morning person, or I'm not a night person. Here's what you must understand. I know we all get betrayed, and we go through things in life that make us very skeptical about people, right? But what you must understand is, when you're walking in purpose and you really start to have that energy on you, because energy don't lie. First of all, you're going to start to meet people that you should meet. But this is why it's important for you to get out there, because you'll have your message, and your message is going to be so strong that people that ain't about it, they're going to repel. It's going to repel them. But the people that's drawn to it, they're going to be coming with open arms. That's number one. But number two, when you know you're born for a reason, when you know your purpose, you know you're very valuable. So when you have a certain self-value and a high self-image, you're going to invest money in being in the environments of the people that you want to be around. Listen, even with the club, when I used to go out to clubs, I did not go unless I knew that I could go in VIP. I'm not standing in no long line just to get in free. I want to go in VIP. Right. Then if it was somebody there that I knew I wanted to see, that was really one of the main reasons why I would go out. I'm going to give you an example. I love Rick Ross. So when he would be in town, I would go out. Why? Because I know he's going to bring a certain type of people out. After that, I would try to figure out how much is this VIP. We know the VIP line is probably $100, right? But once we figure that out, how can we get in VIP? Right? This is the thing. You have to pay. It's not even just paying. It's about investing. This is a good way to accelerate you expanding your brand, even your nonprofit. So don't think everything is about a business, because when you're born for a reason, guys, you have to get your message out there. And again, I'm just giving you these 3 high level tips on how to say goodbye to this poverty mindset. Right? Because when you discover your purpose, that's number one. God, you're going to have confidence about what you're talking about, because you're not talking about something that you don't know. You've lived it. Right? So you can talk about it all day long. That's going to give you a whole nother level of confidence. Here's the deal. That's confidence that clothes can't buy. You can't buy this. This is why it's important for you to discover that purpose. And then the people thing, like I said, you'll start to invest. You're like, you know what? Hey, I got this outfit. I know I'm looking good, or whatever you got on, right, to fit that particular environment. You're like, I'm about to invest in this environment. I'm about to invest in going here. Right? Now, if you decide you want to go to a little sports bar at some point, that's your choice on your off time or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, if you don't have your tribe yet, you need to specifically and strategically put yourself in the right environment. And sometimes you have to invest. And here's another thing. It's not just about investing and going out and being social. It's about being social, but like not at like a club. All right, sometimes it's a seminar. Sometimes it's an online community, right? Where you're doing online games and things like that. Sometimes it's just taking a trip and going to a city that got a nice museum, right? You have to strategically understand that it's about people helping people, because I promise you, when you walk in the right light and you know you're here for a reason, and then here's the thing, when you connect to it, see, when you plug into your purpose, now you got all this energy that's talking about purpose. People see it, people notice it, because you can kind of tell when people got bad vibes. You can just take you a trip and go somewhere, and I promise you, you will meet people. I promise you will meet people. This is why it's important to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? I don't care if it's a business card. I don't care if it's a book, whatever it is. I'm telling you, if you go out on purpose, you're going to plug into the right people. Last but not least, number 3, after you understand it's about people helping people, you must decide, okay, I know it's about people helping people, but how can I use my purpose to make an impact on the world, which is going to lead to the income, right? So how do you make an impact? Again, this is going to be all about you saying, how do I want to make an impact on the world, right? Do I want to do it with my speech? Do I want to do it with talking on a podcast, a radio show, an audio book, right? Or do I want to do it with my writings? Do I want to do cookbooks? Do I want to write books? Right? Do I want to do it with my videos where I'm doing little skits? Right? Or do I want to do it in a way that nobody knows it's me? So, or I don't have to be on video. So again, you might tap into books. You might offer services, right? Check this out. Even if you don't do any type of books or anything like that, you might say, I have actual services. So guess what? There's 2 ways that you can still provide services. Number 1, you can go provide the service, like when I was talking about catering, or you can get you a team of people. Or you can get a program that will train people according to your purpose, right? So it's so many different ways. It's all about you identifying what is best in alignment with your true self, right? You don't have to be somebody else. Be yourself. But you have to know, who are you? Who do you want to become? Right? So if you know you're somebody that's really, you like being social, but you don't want to do video right now, maybe you'll say, I'm going to start with a podcast. Right? I'll start with a podcast, and when I get comfortable, I'll go to video more. Okay. Now I've done both, but I do enjoy podcasting, and then I'm going to eventually go into more videos, but I'm going to actually go the route of having a show. Okay, so, but this is not about me. This is about you identifying, because what I want you to understand is this. There's people out here right now making millions of dollars, and they don't even put their face on the video. And with technology that we'll be discussing more on this channel, you don't even have to use your voice. You can just use your mind and your creativity, and you can get somebody else to use their voice, and you can just market it out there in a certain type of way. Okay, so this is how powerful it is for you just to make these 3 simple decisions. I promise you, if you make these 3 simple decisions, number 1, these not decisions, they're decisions, but also mindset shifts. Number one, discover your purpose and know that you was born for a reason. Your self-value, your self-image goes up instantly. Instantly. You don't care what people doing. Instantly, you're born for a reason. Number two, understand it's about people who helping people. That slims down and cuts down the noise and the clutter of hanging out and dealing with people that you have no business dealing with, right? Even in your business, you might be in business right now. When you think about the people who you're driven to help, right? When you think about that, a lot of people or a lot of customers is giving you a lot of problems. Guess what? You'll go ahead and kind of fade them out. You will still service them, but you will find a way to fade them out. Life is too short to be unhappy with unhappy clients, customers, friends, and family. Now, listen, I'm not saying we won't have challenging days, but you know what I'm talking about. 3, listen, it's all about you. So you must make the decision. How do you want to impact and make an income? The world is yours. But it's about you discovering and connecting to that to say, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. Now, please understand, I gave you 3 pointers that you can start working on right now, today. Nothing's holding you back. It costs you nothing, right? But a few minutes of your time. However, I want you to understand on a holistic view that this is a journey. This is a journey. Because you can write down, you can have the answers to all 3 of these tonight, which will be fabulous, actually. But you must understand when you get to number 2, you might have to do some work on that, right? It's a journey. Everything is a journey. And when you start to respect the process more, this is how, when you're in your purpose, this is how you lead to mastery. Because see, a lot of people see Z and they want to hurry up and go from A to Z. But that's not how it works. No matter how many shortcuts and hacks and everything that I give you or anybody else give you is still going to be added and included as a part of your journey, right? It's going to accelerate it. Now, let's be clear, right? Because we was first on horses. Remember, we had horses. Now we got cars, right? So it's still the same journey, but we accelerate the journey. So I'm here to help you accelerate your journey. However, I cannot take out anything that you're supposed to be experiencing in your journey just because I give you hacks. Okay, so I hope you understand that, because I really want to paint a picture, the right picture on getting to the next level. But the thing is, the most hardest part of the journey is what? To get started. So many people act like they're just scared to get started. It's just like if you're learning a new skill. Some people are scared to press the button. It's a computer. You can't mess it up, right? It's not like you're trying to reset it. You're just pressing a button. So here's the deal, guys. Discover your destiny. You can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. Discovering these things and getting started on your journey. Here's another thing too that's really going to help you out. Keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody right now. Let this be something intimate for you. You know why? Because when you're good, everybody else is good. And here's the other piece to it. Like I said, the beginning is always the hardest part. So why why tell someone that could possibly be the wrong person to tell? Now it drives that seed of doubt. So in the beginning, right? Just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. And I promise you, even if you never told anyone else what you were working on until it was absolutely time, the right people they're going to be gravitating towards your energy anyway. Okay. So just remember, start somewhere. Go ahead and get started. Next, after that, it's the middle passage. Sometimes when you get in the middle, you can't see ahead of you, right? You can't see the end, and you look back and you can't see the end. You can't see the end and you can't see the beginning. You know what that means? You got to keep going. Keep going. This is why it's important for you to become a part of a community, right? So if this content has been helpful to you on your journey today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, right? And don't forget to share it. But the third piece I want you to understand about the journey is the end. You know, many people, they are able to lose weight, but they end up yo-yoing back. But that's the same thing with success. They get to that end and it's like they start to slip back because they don't understand. You must become somebody completely new to walk into those new shoes and be that person. Again, a lot of these things, depending on your individual situation, a lot of these things, when we start to slip up, it comes from the lack of support. And this is why it's important to understand, number one, that people helping people, but not only that, you must make sure you have your community, your support system in order. Don't be upset with your friends and family because they don't support what you're doing. Okay, it's just that they don't see it because it's your vision, right? So if you're here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Allow me and my team to be your support system that you need while you're discovering your journey, discovering your destiny, expanding your brand. Okay, so again, I really want to thank you all for joining us on this transformative episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget, please share it with your friends and leave us comments, okay? Leave us some reviews on how the podcast and how everything is. Remember, your destiny awaits. Until next time, keep discovering and living your purpose-filled life. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.